So as it turns out, I kind of like doing this. So I'm going to do another one. My friend Susan asked to do the almond thing, which is a Swedish almond cake, which has this many ingredients, not very many: sugar, flour, eggs, butter, and almond extract, and almonds, for the top of it if you want. So it's really fast, really easy. So I'm just gonna get right to it. So we start with a cup each of the flour and the sugar. I'm just gonna tell you one thing. Measuring flour is I was doing it wrong for years. So let me show you the right way, which I only sort of recently learned, makes a big difference in your baking. So normally you need a cup, you just go in there and get a cup. But when you do that, it packs down the flour. And recipes, people who create recipes, certain things that are supposed to be just known, I didn't know. And so when they're giving a flour amount, they're using this method that I'm about to show you, and not what the rest of us do. The other thing, while I'm speaking of it, is the butter. Always, if they're saying 1 stick of butter, it always means unsalted. I don't usually do that. I just use the salted butter. But then if there's salt in the recipe, I leave the salt out. So when they say butter, they always mean unsalted. And when they give you a measurement for flour, they're always talking about measuring it with this method. So you're basically gonna scoop and pour it into your measuring cup. I use the flat back side of a butter knife, and you just kind of do this sort of thing and then level it off. It honestly makes a difference of there could be an additional couple of tablespoons of flour if you do it like that, and it all gets packed down. So it really made a big difference. I make a lot of cookies. I love making cookies. And so I've tried to kind of perfect that. And that one thing made such a big difference. Of course, doesn't matter when you're talking about sugar. So a cup of flour, a cup of sugar. You can use just a regular wooden spoon or something. I'm just going to use my hand mixer just because it'll be quicker and easier. So softened butter, which of course you just leave out. For softened butter, when I don't have it softened like I didn't today, my trick, everybody's got tricks for softening butter, is to, in the microwave, I'll put it in I'll start with say 30 seconds. If it's really cold, maybe 45 seconds, power level 1. So that 45 seconds is done and you barely notice, it's just a little bit, and then I kind of turn it over and then maybe do another 30 seconds on power level 1, and I have softened butter that I can use pretty much right away. Not as ideal as if you had, thought about it ahead of time and put it out on the counter, but that's a rarity, right? Like when you're that well planned. So I'm just gonna mix this. It's gonna end up being a pretty crumbly mixture. So let me get that to where it needs to be. This whole endeavor here should take, maybe 10 minutes to throw together. And then you're gonna bake it on a 350 degree oven for 25 or so minutes. I always, because I'm obsessed and I don't want things to overbake, I always set it for a lot less time, check it, add 5 minutes, check it, add 2 minutes, check it, that kind of thing. But it should take about 25 minutes. Okay, so once you've got that, you are going to add 2 eggs. This recipe that I had originally found asks you to mix it in a separate bowl. Usually I kind of ignore those things, but in this case I don't. I don't know why, I just feel like I should follow this particular direction. let me thank my neighbors, Lauren and John, who have chickens, and just this morning brought me some eggs. So I'm going to use those fresh eggs. So I'm going to add 2 to this separate bowl. By the way, one of the things you're not supposed to put down the kitchen garbage disposal are eggshells. So I'm just going to quickly throw these in the trash. I'm also going to wash my hands. My son has a severe allergy to egg, so I have to be extra careful when it comes to egg. So then you add, what most recipes would call for 1 teaspoon of almond extract. I'm going to put in 2 teaspoons. I love it. Also, this isn't almond extract. This is called almond emulsion. It's like a thicker, more intense flavor. It's just, it's the same. It's almond extract, almond emulsion, no difference. Then I'm just gonna mix this up real quick. I'm gonna add it to the flour mixture. Mix it together. That's it. So basically, what we're gonna do is take this mixture, put it in a greased, it can be a pie plate, it can be a tart pan, it can be like an 8-inch cake pan that you would make a cake in. Really anything that you can bake it in that's approximately this size would work. So with this grease, let me get the spray, sorry, forgot that. With your pan, pie plate, tart pan, whatever you use, greased. I'm gonna pour this in here. Spread it. Oh my gosh, it smells so good. I'm obsessed with almond. If you know me, you already know that. So to me, this thing is like, because it doesn't take long at all. It's a pretty little cake. You'll see when it comes out. It's a nice thing, like if people are stopping by or whatever, that you can kind of put together, you know, pretty much last minute. Also, I never do that. I just make it for myself. And it's really, really easy. Okay. Once you have that in your pie plate or whatever plate, you're going to sprinkle with almonds if you want to. Who wouldn't want to? Also makes it prettier. And then I add these little sugar crystals. So they're like, I can't remember the name of them, but you know, they're like big sized sugar crystals and they're so pretty. And I add them to the top because it adds like a fun crunch to it. And it's pretty because they're like, you know, kind of like sparkles. So I think it's super pretty. So again, this is going to go into a 350-degree oven for approximately 25 minutes. It's not great when you overcook it, which is what I did last time. You'd rather err on the side of slightly undercooked. It's supposed to be chewy, you know, kind of like slightly undercooked kind of taste to it. So I'm going to put it in the oven, and then when it comes out, I will come back and show you what it looks like. Okay, it's all done here. Still a little bit warm. So I initially set the timer for 18 minutes, and then added, I think I added 5 minutes, which made 23. Then I added 2 more minutes, which made 25, which is how long it took, which is what it said in the beginning. But I think I still probably overcooked it by a minute or two. So for future for myself and for you, the middle still would look a little raw, but I would take it just you know, just a little bit raw. I would take it out because it'll of course keep cooking once you take it out. It's already kind of pretty. You can't probably see the sparkles from the sugar, but it's pretty. But you still might decide you want to spruce it up a bit with more sugar. Can't hurt. So you really just can, you know, if you want to get fancy, kind of do this kind of deal. And sprinkle some powdered sugar. And then you can invite Martha Stewart over and feel confident, you know, because it's pretty and all of that. So let's cut into it and see. Hopefully it's not terrible. Oh yeah, no, it's kind of great actually. Oh, I cannot wait. Hopefully it's going to come out in one piece. It's still a little warm, so I probably should have waited a little bit longer. But here we go. It looks great. It's actually actually I cooked it just right because it's still pretty chewy on the inside. So I'm not going to be one of those people who takes a bite and says yum, because it's going to be good. I'm pretty confident about that. So let me know if you have any questions about it. And otherwise, maybe I'll see you next time if I want to maybe keep this thing going. Yum.